Hello, thank you for coming to my final project. My name is Ahmed Umate, and in this presentation, we will just put everything together that we have learned throughout this course. So, we'll start with giving a brief summary of what the presentation will cover. So, in the first few slides, we'll go back to what we learned in week one, focus on discussing about the feasibility study and what we analyzed, the context it was in, and the lessons learned. After completing that section, we'll move to analyzing Delight's business plan, defining what Delight is, what the business plan was about, what inspired the company, and what made its success. Furthermore, we'll discuss about the viability of Spring Drift Soda Company. This section will focus on discussing about what's important when a company is going out to get funding, how it can differentiate itself from other companies, and what makes it a successful company. In week four, the article we analyzed was engineering for kids. So in this presentation, we will discuss about the sales process, how they position themselves, and what was important for engineering for kids as a company to be successful and how it was created. And finally, we'll discuss about the growth strategy of water sports, what strategy they used to expand internationally, how they decided to expand, and what characteristics they took into consideration. So we'll dive in the first section, which is the viability of a business plan of a company of our choice. The first step, or before a company decides to launch, it is crucial for them to complete a feasibility study. So the first step in completing a feasibility study is assessing the competition. The feasibility study again helps us to understand how possible or how can we set up our business, what are the risks, what are the challenges. So in assessing the competition, it helps you understand how your competition works, who are you are going against, what strategy they are using, and based on that, how you can develop your own differentiation strategy and how that strategy would help you to be successful as a company. Feasibility study also requires the entrepreneur to analyze and assess their potential customers. When you want to start a business, you need to sell the products or services that you have. So it's crucial to understand the demography, what's their purchasing power, how much available income do they have, and in what location are you going to set up the business. If you're maybe opening a restaurant, you'll want maybe to have your location in a busy area and so on and so forth. That's an example. Next, it's important to assess the market in which you will operate. So for a business to launch, it's very important. It's vital for them to understand the current state of the market they're going to operate in. What are the barriers to entry? What are the restrictions? How easy is it to enter and exit? That will also help you develop or understand how you will face competition. Market feasibility also includes analyzing any future trends and any other potential sources of revenue in the future. Next, we will discuss about the importance of feasibility. So an important aspect of feasibility is that an important aspect of feasibility study is completing technical analysis. Once a company masters its technical capabilities, it permits them to have a competitive advantage. For example, Amazon today, one of its greatest technical advantages is the fact that it masters its logistics channel. So, based on that, it's able to differentiate itself and attract more clients to shop on their website. Companies also need to complete organizational assessment as part of the feasibility study. The organizational feasibility defines the company's legal structure, introduces the different partners, gives more information about the company and other people involved in the venture. This is particularly helpful if the company plans on going outside to get funding. Investors will usually like to understand what the company is, its history, who is working there before investing in a company. So to conclude, companies that properly conduct feasibility analysis have higher chances of success because early on they're able to identify the risks, the opportunities, how to position their products, and how to penetrate the market. Next, we'll discuss about Delight's business plan. So Delight was a case study and it involved Sam who joined the corps. He went for a few years living in West Africa. Once in West Africa, he witnessed a very sad incident whereby one of his neighbors was burned with kerosene because there was no light and then the person was trying to have light. Once he witnessed that, Sam was heavily impacted and knew that he needed to find a solution to help the people have easy access to electricity. The first step that Sam took was to join in a Stanford program whereby he met a few classmates and they created D-Light Company, which was a for-profit company, but its mission was to impact the life of more than 100 people by 2020, and which they did. Once in Stanford and after graduation, D-Light, headed by Sam and his team members, participated in numerous startup challenges and won a lot of prizes. One key indicator that helped or motivated Sam to pursue his company was that in around 2007, the UN identified that there were approximately 1.6 billion people that did not have access to electricity, and more than 1 billion people didn't have access to reliable electricity. One important aspect was that big companies such as General Electric and Philips did not heavily invest in capturing that huge market. Hence, Sam and his team saw that this was a great opportunity for them to take advantage of and position themselves as a leader in the sector. They understood that they were not new, the first mover, but they understood that there is improvement that's needed, and then developing a solution, a technology that's adequate would definitely help them penetrate that market. For the, there were numerous reasons that helped the company to be successful. First, Sam and his team were fully passionate and fully invested in the project. Sam again had personal experience living in remote countries in Africa, and a few of his teammates also had personal experiences that helped power the project. It gave them the passion that they needed to succeed. And once they graduated, they didn't accept corporate jobs that were offered to them, but all of the team members focused on developing the project. Sam and his people were also very motivated because they were planning on making a change that would impact millions of people. It is true that the company was positioned as a for profit business, but the team was driven by the fact that the product that they were developing would improve the lives of more than 100 people by 2020. Finally, a great recipe for their success was the fact that they had a great marketing strategy. Delight team members made sure that they hired local people to promote their products. The local people had advantage because they spoke the language, they knew the people, and hence it made it easy to develop and maintain relationships in their community and among the people. The next topic that was covered in this presentation is the viability of Spindrift Solar Company. So Spindrift Company was established to disrupt the traditional soda industry. They offered healthy and refreshing beverages made from triple purified sparkling water, freshly squeezed fruits, and sugarcane. As a differentiation strategy, Spindrift Soda developed their products to have no syrups, no juice concentrates, and no additives, and finally, no preservatives, so fully natural. As the company was interested in raising capital, there were numerous factors that needed to be tackled by investors. Before an investor comes in and invests money in a company, they need to understand what's the financial health of the company. So is the company doing good? Is it doing bad? Are they in debt? are they breaking even? Some investors might invest in companies that are breaking even, or mostly in companies that are already profitable. A few might also be interested in investing in a company that's not performing very well, but that has a strong vision in place and strong management team. Investors also need to understand how the company uses its current assets. Is it effective? Are the current assets effectively managed? Are they productive? What's the turnaround, and so on and so forth. So basically, how does the company deal with what they have? Next, investors can also ask about the company's performance, the net profit as compared to other peer competitors, to understand how they are doing overall in the industry. They can also need to understand the earnings growth, since it helps portray the net income of the company over time. It also analyzes the trend of earnings. Once the president of Spindrift goes to investors to ask to raise capital, he or she should be ready to answer a few questions that would be most likely asked by investors. These include, they'll want to know how much they're willing to raise. This question sounds really basic, but it's important uh, that the president should justify each amount they need, if they're going to use it for expansion, to buy more stock, and so on and so forth. They need to know the company's credit file profile. Is the company in a good standing? Has it defaulted on loans before? If yes, why? What changed in the meantime? And so on and so forth. They should be able to defend that. And again, as we mentioned, they should be able to clearly identify or explain where they will be using the funds raised. With that being said, we'll move to the next case study, which is the sales process used by engineering for kids. So, engineering for kids was created because, as a result of a study, in 2018, they realized that 2.4 million jobs would be created by 2018. And a study completed by Intel also demonstrated that about 63% of teenagers are not interested in engineering jobs. So the objective of the company was to create a program that will give students exposure and then to engineering and problems that engineering solve in the society on a daily basis. The program was divided into three groups. First group consisting of junior students, junior engineers, pre-K to second grade. Second group, apprentice engineer, third grade to fifth grade, and the third group was master engineers, sixth grade to eighth grade. And the range, or the age range was between 4 and 14 years old. During the sales process for engineering kids, an important aspect is marketing. So in marketing, there are numerous legal and ethical considerations that need to be taken into account. Um, for example, the company, even though there is a huge need for this, a huge need for kids to get interest in engineering, the company cannot go ahead and create fake advertising material and deceive the kids into joining the program. The program should be very informative. The advertisement should be informative. It should tell the truth, and the kids should join because they want to join. They should not be deceived into joining it. With this program, kids' information are also collected by the company, so they need to make sure that it's properly saved and safeguarded against any attacks, and also that if the information is collected for a certain aspect, it should only be used for that aspect. It should not be used to achieve any other goals. Next, the company should focus on helping children become informed customers, because children of today are adults of tomorrow. Hence, the company need to market product facts rather than basing marketing on emotions. They should promote strong content marketing, which will encourage students to conduct some research before buying their products, and this will eventually help them in improving their sales and improving the world in the long run. Finally, in their process, engineering for kids as a company needs to be insured. They need to have different type of insurance that will protect the kids that come to study, that will protect the property that they are renting to, deliver the program that will protect the employees that work, the teachers, and so on and so forth. They need to be covered in case any unexpected event occurs. The last case study that was described in this presentation is the analysis of growth strategy of WOW company, which sells water sports equipment. The first consideration in marketing for growth strategy is identifying the language and understanding cultural differences. The primary solution would be to hire bilingual staff that will be able to provide marketing content that respects the country in which they are expanding into. Understanding cultural differences between the home and host country is also very important as a growth strategy because it will help them better tailor the material that they are presenting. For example, in a country like Canada, it's not forbidden to eat pork, for example, but if you go in a country like United Arab Emirates or Saudi Arabia, pork is not accepted in their society. So understanding this type of cultural differences would help the company generate more adequate materials tailored to the audience. In addition, the company should hire members of the society in each city or in each country in which they are expanding because even within the same country, what applies in city A doesn't apply in city B. So they should also always think about hiring someone within the city in which they are trying to expand, since it will help them better understand the environment and in the long run, it will help them gather information that's needed to generate goods and services that will sell the most. When WoW company thinks of growing or expanding, there are a few options that they can use. First, they can decide to grow by expanding their product lines. Uh, this can be done by having the same products expanded in different countries. But they also need to take into account that even if they have the same products, they must not necessarily sell the exact same products in different countries. They can alter it a bit, but this is basically expanding by going into new markets with either the same or different products. They also need to be involved in segmenting. Segmenting their markets help the companies understand how the products are doing in specific regions. This will also help them to understand where they can identify opportunities to leverage cross-selling. WoW can also expand by expanding their existing product line. A product line extension is defined as introducing new products in the same general product category that have subtle and identifiable differences. So to conclude, for WoW company to expand, they can expand in different cities, but they need to understand the implications of that, or they can expand by expanding their product offerings. With that being said, thank you for following my presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment and I'll be more than happy to reply. Have a good program ahead and thanks again.